All right, guys, don't skip this part of the video because one of the major reasons why people fail to make $100,000 on eBay per year is because they don't actually understand their numbers. It's important to work from $100,000 and work backwards to understand how to actually get there. So let's go ahead and break those numbers down. Okay, so if we want to make $100,000 a year, we have to understand how much money we need to make every day. The awesome thing about eBay is you make money every single day if you've set up your processes correctly. Sales come in on Tuesday, they also come in on Sunday and Saturday and Thursday and Wednesday and Monday. So we're gonna take 100,000 and we're gonna divide that by 365. So when you divide $100,000 by 365 days, you're left with like $273.96 or 97 cents. So to keep numbers simple, we're just gonna say $274. Now, we're not talking about $100,000 a year in sales. We're talking about $100,000 profit. So how do we make $274 profit per day? Well, there's more numbers that we got to break down. All right, so we're here in my sales data that you can find on your eBay Seller Hub. The thing that we need to understand next is how much our items are actually selling for. This year, on average, my items are selling for $40.63, and then we need to deduct our costs from that. This first cost, selling cost, is our eBay fees. I pay on average 13.6% in fees. I also did a little bit of shipping through eBay at the first of the year, so there's a few more percentage points due to shipping, but my fees are 13.6%. I sell a lot of cameras that are only 9%. Remotes, I think, are only about 11%. And then I promote all my listings at 2.6%. So those are my fees. The next thing we need to understand is we also need to deduct our shipping costs. These are my shipping costs. Sometimes my shipping cost is only $3.40. Sometimes it's $87 because I'm shipping a huge subwoofer to New York. But every time I ship something out, we're looking at about $7.03 to ship out all of my packages. Okay, so now we know what our ASP is, which is $40 and, what was it, 63 cents. Now, we learned that our average fees was 13.6%, which ends up being $5.52. We learned that our average shipping was $7.03, and then my average cost of goods, which I have learned by buying thousands of items and averaging them out. Sometimes you're gonna buy things for $1, sometimes you're gonna buy things for 10, but if you average all of those into one number, that's all you need for your information. My average cost of goods is $4.78. Sometimes I buy things for $1, sometimes I buy them for 40, but every single time that I buy something, whatever amount it is, my average is that. So then we're gonna go ahead and do this math here, which leaves us with $23.30 gross profit. Now, a lot of you are going to be saying, well, what about taxes? What about mileage? What about all these things? Well, a lot of those things are write-offs, and this is where numbers can get very confusing, and it's where people say that YouTubers try to manipulate the market and tell people that we make more than we actually do. I will say this. It is impossible to know what you're actually going to pay taxes on if you are doing your deductions correctly, and if you guys buy real estate every 2 years and use them as rental properties, you can write them off as depreciation for up to $100,000 per home per year. And if you're only making $100,000 per year and you have a rental property, you're not gonna pay any taxes anyway. So it's just up to you to understand the tax code laws and figure that out for yourself. Some of you might pay $0 in taxes with the right strategy. Some of you may end up paying 37% in taxes because you didn't apply the tax code correctly. So this is our gross profit margin. Now we understand that we have to make $274 per day, and we do that by selling items for a profit of $23.30. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna divide those two numbers to get how many items we have to sell per day, which is, I'm going to pause and do it with my calculator. In my business model, this ends up being 11.7 items per day. So we're just gonna say 12. We need to sell 12 items per day to make $100,000 per year. This is actually going to end up being like $111,000 per year because of that discrepancy with the 0.3 items, right? But that's beside the point. We need to sell 12 items per day. Now you need to take a look at your store and see how many you have listed and how many you have sold. Again, this is another number that we need to calculate to understand how easy or difficult it is to truly make $100,000 per year. Now, for the sake of simplicity, we're gonna say that you guys have 1,000 items in your store and you are currently selling 10 items per day, which means you have a 1% sell-through. Now, we need to be selling, if you guys remember, 12 items per day to make $100,000 per year profit. So all we would need to do, keeping all the numbers the same, is we would just need to have 1,200 items in our store and sell 12 a day at 1%. Now, from the people that subscribe to my channel, from the people that I've talked to, from experts and from beginners and intermediate, I have noticed that the average reseller that's serious about trying to go for full-time or is already full-time has a 0.5% sell-through rate. Sometimes a little higher than that on some days and some weeks, especially during Q4. Sometimes a little lower than that on some days and some weeks, especially during Q2. So all we would have to do is double these numbers. If we want to sell 10, we would need 2,000. If we want to sell 12, we would need 2,400. So now we know how many items we need in our shop to get to 12 sales a day. If you are at the 0.5, now you need to ask yourself, can you find 24 items per day at this rate and at this profit margin to make $100,000 a year? So now I'm going to talk about some averages. $100,000 per year, like I said, the average person that I talk to has a 0.5% sell-through rate. And from the people that I've spoken with, I would say the average person has an average of a $15 profit per item. Some of you guys may be like me and have close to 24. Some of you may have better inventory and a better sourcing method than me, and your average profit is $40, $50, $60, $70 per item. A lot of you only make $4 per item. Some of you make 7, some of you make 8. You have to plug in all these numbers for yourself to see. But again, let's use these numbers. So 365 days, we got to make $274 per day, and we're doing that $15 a time. $15 at a time. So we're going to divide 274 by 15, which gives us 18.26. So just to keep numbers a little simpler, let's set a goal to make $525 per profit, and it's going to bring this number down to 18. We need 18 sales per day, and you have a 0.5% sell-through rate, so that means you need to times that by 2. Can you find 36 items per day, Monday through Sunday? Can you list 36 items per day? How obtainable is this $100,000 now? Now, if we're only making $750, we're gonna have to times that by 2 again, which is 72 items. Can you find and list and ship 72 items per day? This is where things get really interesting. Now you have what it takes to understand how to make $100,000 per day. So if you look at your landscape where you currently are, what's your sell-through rate? What's your profit margin? Can you find that many items per day? Could you, if you sourced for longer, could you increase your profit per item if you just went to more thrift stores? There's a ton of different ways that we can increase these while decreasing these and increasing this, and it's our responsibility to find out those ways. That's what I'm going to focus the rest of the video on. All right, guys, that was a lot of numbers, something that I'm passionate about. I really appreciate you guys sticking around through those and getting to this point of the video. Now, I want to let you guys know there's a ton of ways to make $100,000. There's a ton of ways to make $1 million. I haven't made $1 million a year yet through eBay, but I think one day I will. We'll see what happens. But there's so many ways to do it. So there's going to be a lot of differing opinions here on YouTube, on Reddit, on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook groups and things like that. You just got to find what works for you. I think, in my opinion, with my own anecdote and experiences and people around me, I think the easiest way to make $100,000 a year is focusing on your Power 5. That's what I call it, is the Power 5. It's your top 5 categories. And if you focus on sourcing those 5 categories, along with some other ones if you'd like to, or you can tighten them up a little more, but I really think your Power 5 is what's going to make you $100,000 a year. If you want to check out what my Power 5 categories are, you can type into YouTube, JRide Flips. This could put my eBay business in jeopardy. I reveal my top 5 categories that I'm selling in. Just briefly, my top 5 categories are like cameras, remotes, sunglasses, subwoofers, and DVD VCR combo players. So when I go to thrift stores, I am constantly seeking out these 5 things, plus a lot of other stuff. This is also sitting on a video game right now that I'm recording on. I sell a bit of everything, but if you want to make $100,000 a year, I make $100,000 a year just with those 5 categories. I make more than $100,000 a year with my other categories. Now, the cool thing about this video is you have already worked backwards at this point to understand how many items you need per day to make $100,000 per year. So now you just need to understand, okay, I need to be able to source 12 items per day, 15 items per day, 20 items per day, whatever it is in your situation, and then work backwards from there on how often and in what ways do I need to source to get those X amount of items. For me personally, I go thrifting every single day, Monday through Saturday. I live in Utah, so all the thrift stores are closed on Sundays. And I have an employee that goes around town here and also in Vegas on Saturdays to do garage sales for me to get the items necessary to achieve my goals, which are more than $100,000 per year on eBay, so it's more than 12 items per day for me. A couple pro tips on sourcing, which is the most important factor to make $10,000 a year, is there's a ton of different ways to source. Everyone knows the go-to ones, such as thrift stores, yard sales, the bins, flea markets, estate sales, but there's also a ton of other ways to do so. I have a video here on my channel that goes into how to source online, eBay specifically, how to buy items on eBay to resell on eBay. Another really cool way to source locally in your town is hopping on Facebook Market. Hopping on Facebook, everyone has in their town blank city online yard sale or blank city word of mouth. Go to your Facebook pages and post with a picture of the things you're actually trying to sell. Like, so example, here's a baseball bat. I have like 70 baseball bats in my garage right now. I would take a picture of those bats and say, I buy baseball bats. Please message me pictures and prices of your bats that you would like to get rid of and sell. And then you can go and buy those bats super cheap from people in your own town. Another way, still using Facebook, is you can go to these word of mouth pages and you can type out with a picture of your inventory. This is a very important part. If you just put the words, hey, I buy cameras, everyone send me pictures of your cameras with prices, no one's gonna send you them. But if you can show someone a picture of your 400 cameras in stock and you say, hi, I buy cameras, please message me with your cameras. Or you can also put in those Facebook messaging groups, hi guys, here's my inventory. I sell things online and I'm looking to connect and establish relationships with people who buy storage units. A lot of people that buy storage units only like to sell in their Power 5 or Power 3 or even 1 category, and they don't know anything about men's clothing. You can step in and buy all of their clothing. They know nothing about electronics. You can step in and buy all of their electronics. They know nothing about furniture. They want nothing to do with it. You can step in and buy all of their furniture. There's a ton of different ways to source that I don't have enough time to go over in this video, but I go over a lot of them on my channel. This is what separates you from being a hobby to a side hustle, from a side hustle to part-time, from part-time to full-time, and from full-time to $100,000 a year, and from $100,000 a year to a serial entrepreneur. Okay, so I wanted to lead with that piece of information because that is the most important thing that you will do every day to make $100,000 a year, which actually ends up being about $8,400 a month, I believe. I haven't done that math yet, but I'm pretty sure that's about it. So There are 6 things that you need to do every single day to make this kind of money. The first one is customer service. You wake up every morning and you make sure that your returns are in order, you answer questions about things, you make sure that your customers are happy, you answer any emails that are from eBay, things of that nature. So second thing you do, and this is what I do personally, but your schedule may be different, your thrift stores, your sourcing routes may be different, but I source. I do customer service, then I source. Then you're going to have to prep your items. Sometimes they require cleaning. Sometimes they require you to grade them and see what condition they're actually in. Sometimes it requires you to test them. You have to actually prep your products. Next, you have to actually list them. You have to learn how to list properly, list efficiently, so that way you can get a ton of items up, because making $100,000 on eBay, you have to get several items up every single day, Monday through Sunday. I recommend having a draft bank. What I do personally is I list 20 items every day. I draft 35 Monday through Friday, and then I list 20 from my draft bank Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every single day, I consistently list, and I don't work Sundays, and I only source on Saturdays. Next up, you're going to have to inventory your items. You have to actually put them in a place where you can find them. You can use SKUs, you can use labels, and you have to have enough space to do so. And then step number 6 is actually sending out the packages. You have to learn about shipping, make sure you're optimizing that and sending it out as cheaply and as safely as possible. And you're just constantly doing these 6 things all day, every day, to make $100,000 per year. All right, guys, I just wanted to leave you with some more information. Again, this is how I made $100,000 plus per year on eBay. Like I've said, there's many different ways to do so, but this is the way that I think is the best and most efficient, because I did it myself and I did it extremely fast. I like to have in my store what I call retail theory. So if you look at Walmart, Walmart has a ton of things that sell for $6, a ton of things that sell for 20, and a ton of things that sell for 80, and a few things that sell for a couple hundred. I like to shoot for the same thing in my store. I have a ton of things that sell for $9 plus shipping, $15 plus shipping, $28 plus shipping, $400 plus shipping, $39 plus shipping, but it all averages to $40 and 63 cents, if I remember correctly. So when I'm out sourcing, I like to think of it as like baseball. I want to get a ton of singles, base hits, which are anything that sell for $5 to $10 profit. Then I want to get a few doubles, things that sell from $11 to $15. I want to get a few RBIs, which are triples. I want to sell things that make me a profit of $16 to $25. I want to get a few home runs, which is $25 to $40. And I want to get a few out of the parks, which are $40 plus. I'm looking for a few out of the parks, a couple home runs, a ton of RBIs, a ton of doubles, a ton of singles. Also, you guys don't have to make $100,000 a year. These numbers apply to any amount you guys want to make. If you only want to make $50,000 a year, cut that in half. If you want to make $75,000, $20,000, if you just want a side hustle that gives you an extra $1,000 a week, you can apply these numbers to any time frame and any amount of money. There are a select few that do make $100,000 a year on eBay part-time, which is awesome. But in order to make $100,000 a year on eBay, you have to give a full-time effort typically. And in order to go full-time, I think it's very, very important to understand the risks of not only being an eBay seller, but being just a business owner in general. Some months you make way more money than you make in a whole quarter. Sometimes you make significantly less money in one month than you made in the previous month or the next month. So it's important to adjust for that risk. I always recommend, if you want to go full-time, you need to do some more numbers. You need to understand what your bills are per month. And if your bills are, let's say, $5,000 per month, I would not recommend going full-time on eBay until you are making $10,000 a month. This is going to give you enough leeway that in the month where you only make $3,200, you have enough money saved up from the other months to cover that. Also, I believe that you should have 6 months of bills in your bank account, liquid, untouched, that you can grab at any moment, at any day. If your cost of living is $5,000 per month, times that by 6, you should have $30,000 in your bank account plus plus making $10,000 a month profit every single month before diving in and going full-time and giving up your full-time income through your other job. I also recommend, as does eBay, growing slow. I would not go out and buy $100,000 worth of product today on a loan and just see what happens. In order to make $100,000 a year, you're gonna have to make a ton of mistakes getting there. And anyone that tells you you're gonna make 0 mistakes getting there is just not telling the truth. And maybe they're doing it on purpose, maybe they're doing it by accident, but you will not make $100,000 a year without making mistakes along the way. That's perfectly okay. It's part of business. I have failed so many times and it has led me to success. And I will continue to fail on my climb up to more and more success. You're gonna make bad buys. You're gonna have nasty returns. People are not going to agree with the way you do business and they're gonna yell at you through eBay Messenger, and it's going to make you have a bad day. It's going to cause you to do a little bit less work here and there. You're going to make mistakes, so it's important to have that risk adjustment and have that money saved up so you're not having a terrible time while you're being a business owner on eBay. I would recommend listing 3 to 5 items a day for a while, and then listing 10 for a while, then going to 15, then 20, 25, 30, however many you need to make your 100K or your 60K or your 40K or whatever your goals are. But I truly believe that eBay is such a wonderful opportunity. It's one of the easier ways to make $100,000 a year, in my opinion. Follow these tips and I'm sure you can get there.